You know how I know he's alive? I mean, I said that he was alive back when the videos from the cell or outside of the cell had surfaced. It was just obvious to me that they snuck him out. You don't amass this kind of power without being able to use it to get yourself out of jail. And after he died, there was a $50 million transfer from one of his accounts to another one of his accounts that was then immediately emptied. But aside from that, there's 2 photos of his face immediately after they recovered his body, allegedly. He's still wearing his little weighted vest thing. Immediately I see this face and I see animation still, right? He still looks animated. There's almost a smirk there. It looks like he's trying to close his eyes. And his mouth is closed. I have seen many, many, many autopsy photos. Jaws are almost always slack. I've seen dead and dying bodies. Jaws are always slack. You lose muscle tone immediately when you die. There's nothing holding the tension in your muscles. So for his mouth to be closed is an anomaly, okay? Someone's going to say rigor mortis. Well, typically with rigor mortis, the body will freeze in the position it's already in. So if the jaw was slack, it would remain slack. It could tense up, but this is a closed mouth. This is an intentionally closed mouth. But this is what sealed it for me. He's definitely not in rigor mortis because they lift up his chin to show you, I guess, ligature marks, but I don't see it. It just looks like a crease. I don't know. And again, he looks like he's grinning here, and his eyes look like he's trying. His eyes look different in this picture than in this picture. He's squinting a little bit harder here. But anyway, they wouldn't be able to lift up his neck. It's all muscles here too. If he was in rigor mortis, his jaw would be closed, but his neck would also be stiff. They're able to flop his neck around, then his jaw would also be open. Tell me that that face does not look animated. If you've ever seen a dead body, you know that that's not the face of a dead person. And I said, you don't amass this kind of power and wealth to not be able to get yourself out of Dodge, right? But also, whoever put him in this position did not invest that much into this asset to make this asset as valuable as it is to just let it get taken out. By who? We know who would want to. Orange. And also, one more thing. I have seen the litigation that ensued after his first arrest, the whole Palm Beach thing, okay? This is not a guy who hangs himself in shame. He sued the lawyer for the victims who sued him. He personally sued the lawyer, something Edwards, for coming after him. That is not a man who has any fucking shame. That is not a guy who's not going down swinging. You think that he wasn't going to defend himself? You think that he was just like, oh, they've just got me on too much now. Let me just end it. Okay. They really just count on people being that stupid. If you understand humanity on any fucking level, you know that this guy is having a ball posing for this photo. You know that this guy is in another country right now. I mean, maybe he's back. I've heard of sightings of him here in Palm Beach, actually. And he's got his big pile of money and he's doing what he does. It hasn't stopped. It never stopped. And if you watched any parts of like the Bannon interviews with him that were just released, that paired with some of the emails where he's plotting and he's like scheming and philosophizing, and the litigation when he sued that lawyer, it's very clear that this guy thinks that he's going to live forever. And I mean that in a very real way, okay? He views life as a game to be won, all right? And he's winning. But also, there was something he said in the Bannon interview that was something like, he doesn't believe that there's like an afterlife or anything like that. Your body dies, but the spirit can go into another body. And I don't think he's talking about like reincarnation. I think he's talking about like his consciousness as it is now can be transplanted into another body. And that made me also think of how all of these tech billionaires are running their lives. I think that they all believe the same thing. They are working towards a future that, I mean, it explains why they all need unlimited fucking wealth. They need to amass and hoard as much money as possible because they don't plan to leave. They believe that their consciousness is going to continue and be transplanted, and they're going to pick up right where they left off. So no, I don't think that he killed himself. It's a joke. He's clearly not dead here. He plans to live forever. And this is not a guy who had shame. Shame, people die or kill themselves from shame or from fear of consequences, let's say. This guy didn't have fear of consequences. He sued the lawyer who represented victims. That is zero fucking remorse, shame, or fear. Anyway, that's an alive face.